So can we proceed? I was explaining about diversity, and I was trying to give you an example of a specialist. Somebody, you move out with him or her to a restaurant, and there is a menu served. And this person looks through the menu, there is no beans. This person specifically relies on beans for nourishment. It's the only food they can feed on. Without it, they cannot survive. I know you must be wondering what kind of person is that one. I think those type of people are not there on this planet. Everyone must eat beans. Those are what we call specialists. At least you know the example. But a generalist, on the other hand, this one is again very funny. This one does not select. It's not selective at all. You take Fortunate out. They tell her, this one is there. She tells them, bring everything. I take everything. Bring. You scare away the person who wants to take you out. If you are going to say you want everything, at least you also pretend for the first time that you don't eat other things. Tell them, I don't eat fish, I don't eat chicken, I don't take chips, even beer, I don't take soda, I take water. And then you drink only water when you are taken out. How about that? That is also a miracle. Fortunate, I'm seeing the way you're shaking your head is a miracle. Yeah, I know you already. So, it does not mean that I've taken her out before. But from the way she's shaking her head, I can be able to tell that she takes so many things. She's a generalist. But it's good to be a generalist. You make people's life easy. Other than being a specialist. Chicken and chips. But I'm a student who has taken you out. And you are saying chicken and chips. 15,000. That is almost, food in Muse's joint for 1 month. 2,000 every day. Times 30 days. And some days you have to miss food. Today you eat, tomorrow you don't eat. So the 15,000 will be enough for 1 month. And you are just consuming that in a few minutes time. 15K is done. That is only food. What about now drinks? And she will pick also expensive drinks. I don't take anything else, only red wine. And a glass is 10K. Oh my God. I can assure you, if you are to read the face of that gentleman that day, you will realize that the next time you ask out, it will never happen. It will be a miracle that he will move out with you. It will also be a miracle if he will ask you how the outing was. Because he will be very serious somewhere mourning, very serious somewhere crying that he has lost all his savings in just a few minutes' time. That's how terrible, how miserable you make some of us. Okay, so that is generalist and a specialist. I'm also told that ladies from Western Uganda, they are specialists. They only look for boyfriends from Western Uganda. If you are not a Westerner, you don't qualify. They disqualify immediately. That's the first qualification. I don't know how true that is. You will tell me when you come back to campus. Unfortunately for us in the north and the east, we support everybody. Whether you're from west or south or north, we are available. We are generalists. Supplying the genetic material everywhere. That's why you find today we have been able to mix up Museveni's cabinet. He now has a vice president from Teso. And a vice president from Teso. We even have a deputy speaker from Teso. We are trying to research to find out if they don't have roots from Western Uganda. Because we confirmed from Mukula had some blood from Western Uganda, so probably these ones could also have some genetic material from that side. Okay, that is politics. Let me leave politics, let me get back to conservation. So, when we conserve, we maintain a diversity. When we have a diversity, then whether an organism is a specialist or a generalist, they have chances of survival. It actually makes life easy for everyone on this planet when there is a variety conserved. I need to charge. Let me first charge. I don't mean, fortunate, you might be thinking of the other charging. Bars are still closed. It is not that charging. It is this charging of the phone. I have seen you even with a glass there. You are busy charging. Okay, I'm done with charging. At least I'm charging when you are seeing. But some of you, when you are charging, you first put off what? The video. Then you charge. After charging, you come back very serious that now you're understanding. Kumbe, you are just there to watch my face only. Okay, we must conserve with an attempt to ensure sustainability. And I think one reason as why you're coming to attend this class is because you want to find out how we can be able to use resources so that we can be able to use them now and into the future. So we conserve so that these resources will be available for a longer period of time. Kelvin, you are still enjoying. I hope you are not charging or recharging. Not even charging, but recharging. You started charging. Yes?
Maybe he's even charging.
He's busy. Kelvin, you just record these people's names down. And then after, when we resume for physical reopening, you know whom to attack.
No.
And by the way, these days they have yeah, and it looks like a tube. I don't know. These days they take beer using a straw, so you never know. It might be a straw for beer, and the screen, your screen cannot show us everything.
My evidence, I'm taking.
Yeah, we even saw students doing exams in the bar last time online. You've forgotten.
Okay. Okay.
So it could be that you have charged, but you are planning to recharge, which is okay. It is acceptable. This is university. You are free to do everything you want to do. But remember, you are also going to be responsible for your actions sometime. So do whatever you want to do because you are above 18, but know that you are responsible for whatever happens to you from now on. Don't forget that. I know of one of my brothers, when we used to tell him this statement, he used to look at us like fools. Are you my father to tell me such advice? You know, that's what he used to tell us. And because we didn't have anything else to add on, we would just keep quiet and leave him. Today, he is around 36 years old. Unfortunately, he could not finish up senior 4 or O-level here in Uganda's case. He came to Kampala a little bit and still he was chased from the little job he got. Now he's roaming around the village, not married, nothing at all. Basically, he's a frustrated individual. Now, with that kind of frustration, it becomes difficult for him now to ask us for the advice we had given him last time. Sometimes this advice is free of charge. It's not part of your school fees, by the way. But also, to follow it is not a must. It's very optional. I used to tell my students that when you're at campus, you are very free. You can even sleep when the door is open, your legs outside. Nobody will cane you. You can come to class when you have not brushed your teeth and nobody will cane you. You can even bleach and do everything you want. You are solely responsible for your actions now and to the future. But remember, when we are living now, it looks like tomorrow I will change. unfortunately for us, that we may say that tomorrow we shall change, and every other tomorrow becomes today, and then tomorrow fails to come. So you remain with the same behavior throughout, and it becomes part of you. And changing becomes a very big challenge. Might I remind you, your character, your attitude is as old as you are. So changing at that age, at this age, might mean changing the whole of you, which is very difficult, or it may never happen. I think those of doctors will tell you, for them they do some bit of psychology, they will tell you what I have told you is something we should think about. I am sorry if you have already committed errors during the lockdown. There is a margin of error always accepted in everything. That is why you find Faith can fall in love with a man who doesn't have one limb, or he doesn't have one ear from one side is not there. She falls in love not because of that ear, but because she allows that error. Yes, the man is rich, he has the money, he has the vehicle, he has the land, he has everything I want. The only thing he doesn't have is the ear. So you say, it's okay, there is no problem. Why? Your interest is not in his ear, your interest is in the money and so on. So that margin of error is acceptable somewhere in the world. The question I usually get from young girls these days when I also go out to con them, we are still also very active and very strong. We are not yet retired. We are still in the field. Balak, don't joke with us. Cristiano Ronaldo. So we are still participating. So when I go out there, they first ask me a question, are you married? Can you imagine? A very difficult question for me to answer. So such a question, I usually fail to answer because I don't know. If I tell the truth, I will make a loss. If I lie, I will gain, but for a short time, and again they will find out, and I will make the terrible loss on this planet. Now what should we do for sure as married people? So you find some of them will ask, okay, if you are married, it's okay, but how many children? Now again, that is the biggest challenge. If you tell them I have 3, this man is very old and those children are already so many. So we have to make sure there is a margin of error. You tell them 1, there they will say, at least 1, he can leave the other woman and he goes with me. Or I can make sure he impregnates me also, so that I will also have 1, she has 1, and he will now make his choice. That's the margin of error I'm talking about. Those margins of error are acceptable. If you have made mistakes, it is good that you have realized your mistake, which means that you can be able to correct it and move on. The biggest problem is making a mistake and failing to correct or accept that mistake so that you can be able to rectify it. Sorry, I'm advising big people. Somebody is saying now, why is he telling us all those things? Let him talk about conservation. Let me go back to conservation. So we must conserve in order to maintain historical recognition of conservation. History, remembrance. I think this one now is in the area of those dealing with tourism. Because in tourism, if we had exhausted all the resources on the planet, there would be no tourism as a cause. What would you be visiting? You are able to take people to Kidepo, you are able to take people to Queen Elizabeth, Lake Mburo, the Mabere, something, the other word, I don't know. Some a place in western Uganda. Mabere Nyina Mwiru or something like that. You are able to take tourists that side, or they are able to visit those areas because they were conserved. Otherwise, if they were not, then probably you would find that such a practice would not take place. So those are some of the importances or significances of conservation. There could be many others. You will come across them at a later period in time. Last but not least for today is the reasons as to why people have taken long to embrace the ethic of conservation. So despite the fact that conservation dates as far back as 250 BC, it has taken long for people to actually accept conservation. And the reasons behind this include, one, is that the human impact on the environment tends to be slow. I'm going to use an example to explain this slow nature of environmental impact surfacing. You find that climate change at present was not caused by the current generation. It could have been partly contributed by us, but much of the effect we are facing now was contributed by so many generations before us. But it took so many years until now for us to realize that there was an impact of human activities plus natural causes on the environment. That's why we got climatic changes which set in form of droughts and in form of floods. But because of that long period of time that it takes for us to realize the impact of man on nature, you find man may not realize that there is need to conserve at first glance. That's why people keep on destroying. They will keep on going to the lake with a mosquito net or using poison in the lake because they know every time they use it, they are able to catch enough fish. And they have done it for the past 10 years, there is no change. It's because that change does not come immediately. That's why people don't practice conservation. How I wish climate change was like COVID-19. See the way the world was shaken and they started reacting. Everybody was trembling, including Donald Trump that I thought would not tremble. He was shaking. Even started calling it China's COVID-19. You can see how the whole world is disturbed. We have been unable to go to school. Now even some of us who didn't want to get vaccinated, we have to get vaccinated because if we don't, we may lose jobs. You can imagine COVID-19 started in 2019, but now in 2021 we already have so many vaccines. Why haven't we reacted so fast like that in terms of fighting climatic changes? It's because it's because climate change takes long to show its impacts, but COVID-19 has been able to show the impact even in the first month. You saw the number of people who died in Italy, who died in the US, who died in Brazil, who have died in Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, South Sudan, and so many other countries. That everyone is on pressure. It is now that I've put on my mask. Put off my mask. I am always on the mask. I fear. But climate change, I'm not scared of that one, So, Talbot, a renowned philosopher, said that it seems to be the law of nature that people aren't moved to action until they see the problem clearly with their own eyes. He calls this the visit out catastrophe syndrome. Man only reacts to a dramatic and faster disaster. Therefore, for people to see change and perceive its impacts and further appreciate its causes, then change must occur with the lifespan of an individual. This is what I was explaining. So people seem to react so fast to faster kind of disasters. But when they take long to appear, then people also will tend to relax. Okay, so the second one is ideological and religious conviction. Ideological and religious conviction. People have a perception, a belief that God is the provider. And because God provided us with these resources, then He will always provide. That's the perception by the people. And I think some of you also have that same perception. That because God provided us with these resources, He will always be around to provide. I don't remember the last time God provided us with, resources. But there is that perception, especially among the faithful. People do not conserve or preserve because they believe that God is the provider. They say that since God created these resources, He will always provide them. The other one is people believe that the resources are available and abundant. When resources are available and they are in large quantities, most times you will find that people will always not mind about conserving them. They know that when I go in a lake, catch some fish, I will go back home with enough fish for people at home to eat, to sell, and so on. If somebody enters in the forest and they are able to collect firewood easily, in 10 minutes time they have collected enough firewood today, in the next month, next year, next 5 years, and so on, they will see that there is no problem in the environment. There is no need to conserve. So for as long as that perception is in our population, then they may not practice conservation. The other remaining points are for you to explain, and you are going to explain them now. Can I have somebody explaining ignorance in relation to how it contributes to people not conserving or embracing the ethic of conservation? Who will explain that?